you have to understand the story with West. West, how Guns N' Roses came together in the beginning is West had an apartment. He had worked. He just got off the tour with Sly Stone. Sly couldn't pay him or didn't pay him or whatever, so he got the 8 track. He gave him his 8 track recorder.
I didn't even know West was one tour with Sly Stone. I don't know. I feel like I
Yeah,
did.
yeah.
I don't know why, or maybe I
I,
forgot it.
yeah, yeah. He was he had guitar tech or something. He was like he wasn't like playing with him, but he
Oh, okay,
was
okay,
on the tour.
got it.
And as they get off the tour, he goes back to his apartment, and it's when the Guns N' Roses thing started happening. They were, sleeping on on his floor in his apartment on some nights, and he would do the demos. He would record the demos for Guns N' Roses while they were forming the band. So it was like his party place, and they'd like pass out and they'd do a song and then they'd go out and play and then they'd thing. So there was a rich history with the band. And as Duff got his own thing going, uh, I think that Axel was still writing with with West at the time. Izzy was he was closest with Izzy as far as I know,
Hmm.
on a playing soul level, he was closer to Izzy than anyone.
Okay.
Um, though they all loved each other, that's why they called him GNR number 6. I think Duff was very close with him as well, because Duff was the first one to reach out to me when this all went down. Um,
Okay.
and he had just moved to Seattle, so he couldn't be at the funeral in time. And that was a whole other issue because he was Jewish. He wanted to be buried, but he had tattoos, so that was a big deal. So we worked the way around that and
Yeah.
got him buried where he wanted to be, next to his
Okay.
mother. So
Oh, okay, good. Oh wow, yeah. It's so funny. I sometimes I forget because tattoos are so common now. I even have Hebrew
yeah,
patience on my arm.
yeah, yeah. But it's an issue in the Hebrew community.
I know. I'm like a Seinfeld. I even know I was bar mitzvah all that stuff. I'm like a Seinfeld cultural. I'm not a religious type. I mean, it's like whatever.
Yeah.
We don't need to sidetrack down what I want for
No, no, no. But
my death.
it was something I was dealing with at that
No,
during
it's I
when it
understand, and
all began.
I appreciate you sharing that little tidbit because that is something, it is. I follow West's there's a Facebook page in tribute to him, and like I think even in the cover of the Facebook page is his um plaque, and it has
His plaque.
his star David on there. So I mean,
Yeah, that
again,
was a
to
big
know more
deal.
history about somebody I can relate to in a
That was
way.
one thing I mean, his lawyer and the family really insisted on that. So it was really something that West wished, you know what I mean? So,
Good, cool, cool.
yeah.
And that's it's to get the wishes that you want. I mean, because I've dealt with not getting the wishes people want in their the death. Maybe you have either. And it's just an ugly, ugly situation. So I'm glad that those that relatively went okay,
Yeah.
all things considered. But to continue, I guess with the GNR thing, he has this history with them. But again, did he want to be like, okay, I have this history with them, but why include them? Greg made it be like, haha, he knew they were gonna break up. Like, I'm gonna have the last recording ever. That was kind of that's the way he made West
Well,
sound.
that's the way Buckwalter is a little bit, but I
Okay.
mean, where I think it was completely by accident. Uh, First of all, GNR Axel had a lockout at Brumbo at the same time for years. I think he was at Rumbo for 5 years during that recording, during that album with Buckethead or whatever. You know what I mean?
Okay. Chinese democracy.
Yeah, Chinese Democracy. That was like he had a lockout for 5 years at Rumbo, and that's where West recorded. So I think it was happenstance that you know, maybe Axel flowed into the studio. They were writing a song together, and he said, "Hey, what do you think? You know, could you want to sing on this?" And then I don't know the whole story with Slash and thing and all that, but I know that once Axel did it, and I know that Duff. I think Duff was the first one to do it
Okay.
because Noel was playing, was the engineer, and doing his album.
Okay.
So there's the Duff connection, you know.
All right.
And
Is it Noel still around? I hate that.
Noel retired. I've met with him a couple of times. He's one of my favorite engineers ever. So, but he's come to Paris a couple of times. We've had dinner, but he really retired now,
Okay.
officially about 10 years ago.
Retired as in wouldn't do a podcast.
He would do a podcast, I
All right,
believe,
just to fill in more of the West's,
but he's a very
story.
private person, so maybe he might
Maybe
not,
not, and I
maybe,
would respect
but
that.
it's worth reaching out to him, you know. But he's
Okay,
very closed.
and I respect that because I appreciate what Greg and Jamie and you're sharing, and I also interviewed his young, I don't know how young he is now, but his nephew Casey, who is the son of his sister. And
Yeah,
there was a lot of family, which I unfortunately know about too. After someone dies, and money and royalty, all that stuff. And I'd be
yeah.
remiss to say if I didn't say that Abe Arkeen didn't reach out to me an email saying that he kind of trying to set the record straight with money and royalties and things like that. I offered for him to come on, didn't want to, so I respect that. But I just wanted to mention it. So I always respect and
Well,
appreciate any story you're able to
we,
share.
we were a little stunned after the death that the absolute first thing was the guitars that were asked for. You know what I'm saying? So I was like,
Oh, to
really?
sell.
You
Oh
know?
yeah.
Yeah. So I was like, okay. But I think but there was a lawyer involved who was very good. So, I mean, the guy who took care of West was had his act together. So I think the things were done properly as
Mhm.
far as concerned. You know?
What about the record itself? Because I know, for a while you can find it online. Now you can find it, YouTube. Is there any sort of like is it who owns the rights? So you never know if something can be re-released to celebrate music. I mean, who's in charge of the Outpatients? Any sort of, just wanting to keep his music alive in any way possible, other than just talking about it. I don't know if that's something that has
Well,
been spoken about at all.
well, I know the deal with Japan was in perpetuity for sure because they paid so much money for it, but it was Japan only.
Okay.
So we had a bunch of labels ready to sign it, but then he passed away, so we didn't. Nobody signed it. And then Harley, I think his name is, if I remember right, the lawyer found a deal with a European label 2 years later, and then changed the cover and the thing and that. But and they made it. They were the first ones to make it digital. But I think there was a clause in the contract where they had to sell X amount of units, or it reverted back, and I think that's what happened. Or the label that signed it went bankrupt, and it's went back offline. But I just saw the album on YouTube. I don't think it's authorized, but
Right, right.
those
Nothing's authorized.
nothing's authorized, and I don't know where the royalties are funneling to. I know that Park Avenue Management, that I'm no longer a part of in New York, made a deal to that once we recouped the substantial amount of investment we made, all rights reverted back to the band. So,
Ugh.
which happened once the album was delivered. So there's no trace. I don't know who's doing what, but in the digital age, I have no, I have no authority in the whole situation. So as far as I
Sure.
know, it's the family.